once again, another great question here on Good Karma Wrestling. Okay. And again, we want your comments as well as we go along with our conversation. So, Brian, Ricky Starks is the biggest question mark of all the free agents.
Yeah.
It's because he's got the mic skills, he has the wrestling ability, he has got the life story of living in his car in New Orleans, and everything that he was trying to strive for. Everyone knows about the story of Ricky Starks. He's got the big matches in the NWA and also in AEW. It's all there. I want him to kill it in WWE. He's 35 years of age, and we haven't even seen the best of him as of yet. So I just think that we'll start there with Ricky Starks. It was so exciting to see him there in the crowd. Didn't say his name, but we know he's absolute. And it was great to see him. So I'll start with Ricky Starks as a guy that I think is could have the biggest impact moving forward.
So when it comes to that debut, the NXT part's a little weird, no?
That he's not on SmackDown or Raw or Speed?
Yeah. Like, was that just them saying, oh, we have to be the ones, like, we're going to show anything can happen, and it's the day after we find out he's released? Like, I feel like it lost a little steam at the fact that it was NXT on a random Tuesday. When's NXT on Tuesday?
It was on Tuesday, yeah. I mean, so we're in a wrestling war, so you can't be surprised that Triple H does this because, as you know, we all know as a show, we all know as wrestling fans, that Triple H is going to do whatever he can to put Tony Khan in a straight jacket. He wants to put him in a home because there's WWE programming everywhere. He will do whatever it takes to be able to make sure that the audience is smaller and smaller for AEW, including, hey, here's one of your own. Before your show on Wednesday, here's Ricky Starks. And so it's all on purpose, only because it's a wrestling war.
So to your point, though, so Ricky Starks, I think there is definitely star power there. There's definitely potential there. We saw it with AEW, but it was up and down booking, which is so often the case when it comes to AEW. But to me, there's something about Miro. There's something about he's able to work the mic. He's able to be that big time heel. We've seen it on the biggest of stages and what he's done at the WWE level. I think there's still a lot of untapped potential when it comes to Miro. And I'm excited about what that future is going to hold for him now, maybe with a new lease of life.
Of course, you say that because he has been a guest here.
That's right.
On Good Karma Wrestling. Yes, we have not had Ricky Starks, the pleasure of Absolute on the show yet. So, of course, you're going to lean Miro. The whole thing with Miro is strange. We had him on the show before he came back on the scene. And if you remember, Brian, he was just so at peace. His life was going in the right direction. He goes, I've been off of TV for a while, but my God is going to get me back to where I need to be. He was like talking the gimmick out, working the gimmick out on the show, if you remember.
Right.
And so it was just like, my God is going to get me where I want to be. I will find out, who's been my enemies, all this. And it's like, okay, Miro, that's a fresh character you're putting out there. And he's out there, and you and I are sitting side by side at the United Center watching him in his meat match, and we thought, hey, something's going on here. And then he just disappeared. And it's kind of like, how do you keep that guy on the shelf? And I was surprised. I didn't know what to make of it at all.
December of 2023 is the last time we saw him in AEW. It's February of 2025 right now.
Yeah.
Like, we've talked about how AEW doesn't know how to book big guys. He is among the list of many in that company that, hey, you're really big and you can do things that most people can't, but we don't really know how to use you. Like, they dropped the ball there. And that's coming from, the fact that the way they started, which was awful. Remember the best man gimmick during the pandemic? Like, remember that's how he opened in AEW. Like, they got him back out there. And I just feel like now him just saying like, all right, let me have a new energy. Do we assume all three are back in the WWE?
I'm not so sure. I think 2 out of 3. With Miro, I feel like the Rusev day is washed.
Sure.
Like because look how WWE is now. Now, imagine Miro in that mix on Raw or SmackDown. Sure. Okay, so he gets some chance. But that seems so mid-card, where a guy that felt like he was on top against Cena, like a guy that could be the World Heavyweight Champion. Okay, think about Miro like in the Gunther role. Okay, like Gunther has been so dominant.
Yeah.
But think about Miro, like babyface or heel. I just feel like if he's going back, it has to be a fresher character. I don't know what that is, but I know that he can go. I just find it interesting that he hasn't even popped up in any of the indies. When some of these AEW guys go away, you'll see him pop up at an indie. I've not even seen him.
And I wonder if that's the route for someone like him. Like we were talking about the Cardona route. Like, Miro main eventing indie shows and just doing whatever he wants, making his schedule. Like, that's someone you pay to see. Like, he has that presence about him that he can make you look like $1,000,000 no matter who's on the other side of the ring. And maybe that's the route for someone like him.
He just, again, I know it's just one conversation, but I've seen him in interviews as well. It just seems like a smart guy.
Yeah.
And also very content. I know that, his relationship is no longer there. So I don't know if he's a single man now, but just the whole thing, like, I just feel like he had a knack to understand the business. At least his character, I don't know about everyone else's, but the way he laid out his thoughts about AEW, the way he laid out his thoughts about himself, I thought, now here's a guy here that can latch on and be really good. And I feel like with Ricky Starks, the same thing with Miro, that Tony Khan and the staff dropped the ball.
Yeah.
It seems so obvious. There's some women and men there on AEW TV that probably shouldn't get TV time, but I think that Miro and Ricky Starks and Aleister Black should have.
Yeah,
so I don't know.
These three all should have been AEW World Champion. I have no problem saying that.